And there we go. So I was just dancing to my own theme music. It's the thing I do. Starting a new week of streams on a Tuesday. Hello, Chris. And all these people who are dropping things in chat before I was on. Don't know if they're still there. Jonathan Jubb, I have no idea who you were. But you seem too uptight about James Bond. And Shieldsy, he's going to bed really early, apparently, at 7, which is a bit weird, but good on you. And Glee was here a few minutes ago getting the AstraZeneca vaccine on Friday. That's not the one Mrs. Angry got. It's the one I'll be getting. But yes, I don't think we need to worry about complications with that. There are many things that are many orders of magnitude higher risk that we do all the time. Which is not to say there's no risk. Nothing's risk-free, but, it's... evaluate and certainly don't get swept up in hysteria. Here I am responsibly drinking my fruit juice. Fruit drink anyway, not fruit juice. Well, there's some fruit juice in it, but you probably know what I mean, in that it's not like squeezed fruit juice. It's out of a thing from a supermarket. It's a fruit juice drink. These, they're not pedantic definitions. They're definitions. That's how we decide what things are. We define the boundaries of them. If something is based on fruit juice but has additives, even if the additive's only water or sugar, we call it a fruit juice drink, not fruit juice. And among people who make cocktails or do bar stuff, there is arguments about rum products that aren't technically rum. They have a rum base. They've turned them into a liqueur, like Malibu's the most famous one. There's not really much rum in Malibu at all. It's usually half the strength of rum and has other flavors added. So it's a rum-based liqueur. And a lot of stuff that has the appearance or sort of marketing as being rum also isn't. Captain Morgan in Australia is not allowed to call itself rum. It's called a spirit-based drink. So I'm assuming it's like its base is a grain alcohol, like vodka, and then it's flavored because rum is sugar-based, molasses-based. Molasses is, boiled down sugar. So molasses is a sugar byproduct, whereas other spirits are grain spirits. Whiskey, vodka, gin are all grain spirits. But and of course, potato vodka is a thing. Hey, Abigail, hello. Is that a scream of pain that as you come in? So, potato is what? Potato is a legume. And people certainly distill a wide range of stuff. Tequila is famously from the agave plant, a succulent that grows in Mexico. So it's distilled from agave. But again, I think it's distilled from agave nectar. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's accurate to say that it's distilled from agave nectar, which makes it closer to rum because agave nectar is, of course, sugar, just doesn't come from sugar cane. It's a sugar from the agave plant. Abigail, you're actually having a reasonably good day today. Well, that's good to hear. And what else is there? I think most of the other things are grain-based. Oh, no, of course you get grape brandies. Brandies are fruit-based. You get just brandy and cognac and armagnac. They're all grape-based, but you get apple brandy and cherry brandy. So yeah, so fruit-based spirits are brandies, or brandies are fruit-based spirits, whichever way you want to say that sentence. And again, because it's the sugars from the thing, again, I think you could argue, and probably other people would actually argue with me, but I think you could argue that like rum and tequila and brandy kind of belong in one family because they're from sugars, like sugar juices that come out of things, and gin, vodka, and whiskey belong in a different family because they're grain-based. Here we go. Esoteric discussions about alcohol. Because why not? We always nerd out about something. I can nerd out about alcohol if I want. And probably not have any tonight. Maybe, James Bond's, well, it's not James Bond's birthday. It's the anniversary of the publication of the first James Bond book, Casino Royale. And could do a Vesper, the drink he names after the lady he's interested in Casino Royale. Her name's Vesper. And so the drink he calls a Vesper, 3 parts gin, 1 part vodka, half part Quina Lillet. Quina Lillet is not really made anymore, but I have another drink that's supposedly a good facsimile of it. Yes, Abigail, you raise a good point. The grain-based alcohol, again, the sugar, I think in all cases, but what I mean is why I differentiate grain-based alcohols, because yes, it is the sugars in the grains that are an integral part of the distilling, fermentation and distilling process. But rum with sugar from sugarcane, brandy with the liquid sugar juices from fruit, and tequila, which I think is agave nectar, that's like a liquid sugar that you can actually squeeze out of the base material, whereas with the grain-based alcohols, you can't squeeze grains and get sugar to come out of them, a sugar syrup to come out of them. So that's, in my mind, why they're different. Now, someone who's actually a distiller could probably point out exactly why I'm wrong. Or maybe they'd say, no, actually, you're right. I don't know. Because, yes, you ferment it first and then you distill it. So maybe it's all the fucking same. Maybe I'm talking crap. But there is sugar at the base of all of them. The only thing in my mind, as I said, rum and tequila and brandies feel different to me because they're like a sugar juice, whereas for the grains, you actually have to, would they put them in water? They like stew them in water, I think, to get the sugars to come out of them. Alexander, hello. There's an enzyme that breaks down starch into sugar. It's in our saliva. That's handy. We can brew things in our saliva. So, yes, in my mind, they're just different because you can't squeeze grains and get sugar syrup out of them, whereas you can squeeze the other things and get a sugar syrup out of them. But in practical terms, I guess, you're adding the yeast and the liquid water, and it's, the sugar in the base, and it's different types of sugars, of course, but it's the sugars in the base that activate with the yeast. I think the yeast eats the sugar, and you get fermentation, and then you do distillation. Unless you're just making beer, then you just get the grain and do fermentation. But yeah, the first run of the first thing you make when you're making the grain-based alcohols is basically beer. Beers, you ferment grain to make beer, and that's basically the first step in the grain-based alcohols. And again, a particularly knowledgeable person would highlight what I'm saying incorrectly. But I'm saying that like with an asterisk next to it, like I think that's what it is. The first stage is you essentially the same process as making beer, but of course in beer you're doing because the fermentation is the end point with beer. You're doing all this stuff, getting the flavors you want out of it. Whereas when you're making spirits, the distillation process is where the more important, and distillation and aging, if you do aging, where the important stuff comes from. So we go, you need the enzyme and yeast to ferment starchy carbohydrates. Yeast consumes sugar and poops out ethanol in an anaerobic environment. Nice. So question, is yeast some form of plant or fungus, or is it a microscopic animal? That's a blank in my knowledge, because I always thought yeast was like plant, like fungus maybe. But for all I know, yeast is actually, more or less animal, albeit maybe single-celled. I don't know. See, it's a gap in my knowledge. There are lots of gaps in my knowledge. And I'm saying this out loud because Abigail almost certainly knows the answer to it. And I'll get the answer, and then we'll know. But yeah, one of the bottles I have over there, the first stage of it was literally beer. The people who ran a distillery, they had friends who ran a brewery, like a boutique brewery, and they'd made a whole bunch of beer at the start of last year that was never going to be sold because all the pubs closed because of COVID. And it's like, oh no, all this beer is going to go off. What will we do with it? And so they went to their distiller friends because they know beer is like essentially the first stage of distilling. And, they said, what can we do with this? And they, for a while, were going to make hand sanitizer. And they went, no, let's get creative. So they've made this moonshine. They call it Pacific Moonshine. I think the beer brand is Stone and Wood. The Byron Bay Distillery had all this beer they put in their distilling process, and they didn't age it. They just ran it through the distiller, and so they've called it moonshine because it's basically moonshine. It's distilled spirit, but unaged. There you go. Abigail saying yeast has an enzyme. Yeast is eukaryote, which I think I've heard that term, a single-cell organism. It's officially classified as being a fungus. I thought I'd heard that somewhere. That yeast is basically a fungus. Yes. I was going to say otherwise, because if it was an animal organism, nothing fermented or distilled would be vegan. Mind you, I don't know the process that well. I don't know how vegan brewed and distilled products are. Let me see. Oh, okay. Dominica Piaseca, spokeswoman for the Vegan Society, said, fortunately, virtually every brand of hard liquor, bourbon, whiskey, vodka, gin, rum is vegan. So if it's not a cream-based liqueur, it is probably vegan, unless you're one of those fucking idiots who goes on about, oh no, if you're like keeping bees to do the what do you call it, the pollination that's necessary for the plant aspects. That's not vegan because you're using the labor of bees. Fuck those morons. But to a non-moron definition, apparently virtually all spirits are vegan. Cream-based liqueurs, of course, wouldn't be, but yes. So, Abigail, eukaryote is a single-celled organism that contains a discrete nucleus with a nuclear membrane. Lipid or bilipid? There you go. Never go, even when you're one of those vegans, you still ate honey. Yeah, no, once people, because there's a huge spectrum of stuff that if you latch onto this real fuckwit definition of vegan, you can't eat. Honey is the obvious one, but it's even like fruits and whatnot, because most, to ensure pollination, a lot of fruit growers have beehives, just so they've got like a guaranteed bee population that's going to pollinate the fruiting trees that they need to be pollinated. And there's this particular absolutely fucking moronic strain of veganism that says, no, you're using the labor of animals and it's not vegan. Those same people seem to have no qualms about consuming things that involve just extreme cruelty to humans. Two that spring to mind is some of them will obsess about they can't have honey, but they can have agave nectar, because apparently that doesn't rely on bee pollination, but they're like plundering the environment where agave plants grow to satisfy their craving for agave. And the same was, what's the one that was trendy? Quinoa. It was like a food used by ethnic groups in South America, and now the majority of their crops being essentially stolen from them to feed obsessives in developed countries, and it's sick. Well, that's an interesting one, Abigail. Figs are considered not vegan because of the high percentage of wasp larvae that live in them. Ew, wasp larvae. That's not something I'm familiar with about figs. But I learned something, so that's good. Yeah, as a general rule, I won't diss veganism because I think it's, in general terms, a good idea. There's just particular idiots that are. But also, I think humanity's future, such as it is, as the biosphere collapses and everything goes to hell and Mad Max, I think a significant majority of food that is eaten by humans in the future will be bugs and plankton that will be processed into stuff that doesn't look like bugs or plankton, and that'll keep humans going, because fruit and grain crops will die. Not just animals, not just the bigger animals will die. Fruit and grain crops will die as well. And so I think going to be eating bugs and plankton on an industrial scale. And of course, they are living things. And so hardcore vegans will probably be a thing of the past, because they'll all die, because it won't be possible to be a vegan, because there won't be enough vegan food. Mind you, there won't be enough of any food for most of the... No, I'm just getting super morose and negative there, and I have no way of knowing. Yes, Abigail, yeasts as well. You are spot on. Yeasts can form a huge amount of food products. So yes, and fungus generally, actually, probably mass production of fungus-based foods as well, because that will look and taste more like meat as well. Various mushrooms and other funguses. So yes, we have a fungus, bug, and plankton future, I warrant. Raiders, good evening to you, sir. Because barring some sort of miracle, we are going to see a particularly nasty ecological collapse. I might not see it. I might be dead before it happens. So on my deathbed, saying to my children, and if there are grandchildren, like, sorry for fucking up the planet. That wasn't good. Sorry. Dead. Oh god, and as we get more and more signs of extreme environmental disaster in the coming years, we're going to hear more and more fucking stupid technological solutions. Even Gates was pushing this one about shooting stuff into the atmosphere to block out the sunlight. It's just like, nah, I can just see that shit just going fucking horrifically wrong. And it shits me because, oh no, let's put a whole bunch of effort into a technological solution that will delay the inevitable. A, it probably won't, and B, it will only delay it because we know the answer. The answer is absolutely clear. Reduction in consumption, shifting from fossil fuels to renewable energy is literally the only chance humans have. And anything else, any other proposed solution is fucking bullshit. Most of them won't work at all. And some of them, some of these stupid, and they're going to be science-based things, and they're going to be stupid as fuck. Most of them won't work at all. Some of them will be actively destructive. And even if there's some that can slow down the collapse, that's all they're fucking doing. And all the energy, all the resource would be much better spent on what we know is the actual fucking solution. And hello, Shannon. Grasshopper. Abigail, I do believe you need all the ideas to come out, but I question whether the capitalists have any interest in filtering out the good ones from the bad ones. It's not science that's going to doom us. It's capitalists who see something as a quick fix and will implement it, whatever the fucking consequences. Speaking of death, does anyone know a free alternative to Ancestry.com? Because fuck those greedy assholes. Yeah, they're Mormons, aren't they? Don't Mormons run Ancestry.com? Because they're obsessed with Ancestry? The short answer is no. I'm not aware of any other genealogy site that is in any way reliable that doesn't cost money. But it's also not something I've looked into. So maybe it's out there. Abigail, I'm certainly not a scientician, which is why I'd always refer people to actual scientific types. Abigail, you may be right. Nettie's had a lot of fun researching genealogy. If she's able to join, I think she's wasted. Like Nettie's been trying to move over the last day or two, and I think she's probably fucking exhausted in her new place. So I'd be a little surprised if Nettie joins us tonight. I think she might need some recovery time. Shannon, yes, the Ancestry.com hoard your DNA if you do that DNA test, which from what I've read is also dumb as shit because those DNA results to a large extent are made up. Like they're not really comparing you to a DNA database. There's like a huge amount of guesswork involved in that. That's what I've read, okay? Abigail, good call. Libraries could be a good source. Might be worth checking in your local area. Is there a library that has genealogical records? That may well be a good source. These are all things that could be done. I've only had like a very passing interest in the genealogy. I know a obscure family member did a big family tree that traced back the first person to come to Australia with my surname, because it's a reasonably unusual surname, and you could trace everyone back to that one person. And Mrs. Angry did a bunch of searching on the thing. And yes, Abigail, that sums it up. Those DNA places are a great way for corporations to collect your genetic data, but not much else. Yeah, because all that stuff they say about what your genetic makeup is, they're literally making it up. Oh, wow. Raiders. Oh, you've been to the Melbourne State Library, Coroner's Court, births, deaths, marriages. Oh, so you're doing the legwork. Go you. Well, you put in the effort in, so I hope you find what you're looking for. Shannon, you reckon there isn't guesswork involved? They look at maternal DNA, able to trace that back through various areas. There are slight biological differences between people of different races, certain traits of DNA that absolutely deflect from. Okay, I'm going to look this up. I'm going to look this up, see if I can find. Okay, I've got a couple of potentials here I'm going to look at. Before taking that DNA test, here's what you need to know. I can tell you a lot about yourself. Fuck off with your pop-ups website. Family tree. There's a dark side to DNA testing. Privacy implications. Yes. How to choose a service. Understanding structured DNA. Knowing the limits of DNA matching. Chromosomes contain code for genetic characteristics, something of a genetic fingerprint. That's why two siblings of the same parents will share a considerable amount of chromosomal data. Cousins too share chromosomal data, just not as much. No, that's a general one. That doesn't have any information I want. Okay, well, this is an interesting heading, this one. The false promise of DNA testing. Oh, I think that, okay, this is not about your lineage. This is about forensic DNA testing and how it's actually completely untrustworthy. Yes, okay, that's different. Although it's also interesting that the police DNA testing is widely regarded as irrefutable truth because the standards in the labs are so bad that. Thank you for the link, Shannon. I am interested. You are a legend. Thank you for providing that. So yeah, that article was talking about something completely different. But I've read a lot of articles about that, about how, particularly in America, the DNA testing used in crimes, which is treated as 100% irrefutable, absolutely is not, because they're a combination of incompetent, lazy, and maliciously motivated. Like the labs are often told by the cops, we need this guy's DNA to be on this and we can convict him. And the lab comes back and says, yep, his DNA's on there. Yes. Shannon agrees. Forensic science, completely corrupt, not worth the paper it's written on. And again, it for years, lie detectors were regarded as irrefutable, and they're fucking terrible. They're absolutely fucking terrible. They're so unreliable. And then, still DNA testing in so many courts is regarded as irrefutable, and it fucking isn't. Shieldsy, you don't need anyone to tell you were from the last convict fleet to Australia. Yeah, my mum's side's all Irish criminals, and I think my dad's side is Scottish, like free settlers. Even Caitlin ate sausage roll, so it's in the fridge. Okay. Shannon, don't get started on lie detectors. There's a short doco series on Netflix called Murder Among the Mormons that I didn't know what it was when I started watching it, but it's about murder among the Mormons. But there's got one person who apparently trained for many years to absolutely defeat a lie detector. And that's all you have to do. You actually just have to practice. And there are actually simpler ways where you don't even have to practice. But if you're guilty, it's incredibly easy to beat lie detectors. And if you're innocent, it's incredibly easy to get trapped by lie detectors. They're bullshit. Chris, you had a meal replacement bar with your midnight snack. Going to head to bed without needing to eat anything for the rest of the night. Nice. I'm still working on my real placements, although I sort of every other day, in fact, for a couple of days in a row now, I've had a meal, like a normal human meal. But usually it's like every second or third day I have a normal human meal, and the others are meal replacement bars and shakes and desserts. So I'm still not sick of it. I've been doing it for since start of March, or even possibly late Feb. Month and a half anyway. I've been doing it a month and a half. Not sick of it. I mean, I do realize, like, if someone puts food in front of me, I can eat a fuckload of food because that's what I've always done. Yes, Abigail, human food. I did like a chicken and baked potatoes on Sunday night. And yes, no, I have had actual human food a couple times and days in a row. Had meatloaf last night, and I had sausage rolls tonight. Shieldsy, people have always changed spelling of their names, not always intentionally. My personal favorite is William Shakespeare. Like, we have so few reliable records of who Shakespeare was as a person. Like, the whole Shakespeare tourist industry is absolute bullshit. We know beyond any reasonable doubt that Shakespeare did write all the Shakespeare plays. Anyone who comes up with some stupid conspiracy theory about someone else wrote them is full of shit, and every single person who pushed one of those theories has been proven to be full of shit and completely lacking in academic rigor in their research into Shakespeare. We have compelling, if limited, evidence of the Shakespeare plays all being written by the same person, William Shakespeare. But there is a document from when he was alive. It's a court document, and someone is like with a quill and ink, writing down proceedings. And in the course of one page, they spell Shakespeare's name 3 different ways. So that's why people's name spelling of it. Sometimes people do it deliberately. They deliberately want to change how the name's spelled. And sometimes it's just because they move and the name gets documented or transcribed wrong and it sticks. But yeah, that was one of my favorite little bits of trivia, looking at the research into, the actual history of Shakespeare. And this court document on one page, written by the same person, his name is spelled 3 different ways. Chris, think of typewriters. Well, typewriters don't stop people doing things like that. I love this. No, I don't know if anyone still uses them, but the old shorthand stenographers' machines that only had a couple of keys on them, but you press them different ways. And it was a court reporters used to use these stenographers' machines. And it was a really specialized skill, because a court can't work with someone going tack, 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 tack on a typewriter because it's too noisy. And writing by hand is too slow. So there were these special stenographers machines that had these special keys that, you push them in particular ways to make all the letters. It's a very specialized skill. The old court, no, they're not court reporters, they're court stenographers. They probably just use normal keyboards. I'm going to look that up. Do court stenographers use normal keyboards? Court stenographers. Oh, stenographer. Stenographer is actually a trained transcriptionist, meaning they record spoken word into written copy and they do it fast. Are they saying stenographers still use the special keyboard? A stenotype. So they also have a special way of spelling when they're using these funny little machines. They do it phonetically rather than writing out the whole word. Chris, your friend's grandma had one in her antique shelf display. Now they use laptops. That's also a good point, Abigail. These days it's probably more record everything and transcribe later. Although, and I see this, I've never, have I been to court? I kind of have, yeah. But not in any big dramatic criminal trial. And so I'm going off TV, which, lies to us all the time. I'd hate to break it to you, but it does, lies to us all the time. But they often do that thing where either a lawyer or the judge asks the stenographer to read out what was just said. I don't know if that's a real thing, but what I just looked up, it said they actually still, the modern electronic stenotype machines, but it says they still use them. There are fewer keys and they have a particular shorthand way of writing that's doing the words phonetic. Oh, and that was the other thing. People who could write in shorthand, and that was almost always secretaries. Did you ever see that? That was a really specialized skill as well, writing in shorthand. And when you see someone's shorthand, it's like hieroglyphs, and because each of the things means a sound, and it's a very specialized skill back in the day, writing in shorthand. Chris, you think your magic glowing box in your living room tells no lies? But maybe, who knows? So, Abigail, so, okay, when you've been to court in Victoria, there was no stenographer, just a recording. Yeah, look, I really don't know. And that was probably an America-centric Wikipedia entry I saw an extract from in my very quick search. So, so they're still in use somewhere. I mean, seriously, a recording device, and maybe even that thing that I've seen. I feel like I've seen so many times in TV and movies of, read back that last bit of the transcript. Maybe that just doesn't happen. Really, that's a fiction thing. I don't know. Which brings me to my it's my favorite / most annoying thing about court cases. So there is some variety around the world now, but there's always the thing that you weren't allowed to have cameras in a courthouse. So the tradition of the court artist came to be, and there's someone who's doing these quick, usually quite impressionistic sketches of the players in a courthouse, and they were used for illustrative purposes on the evening news. And I thought they were dumb as shit for that court artist thing was dumb as shit for two reasons. One, they usually weren't particularly accurate representations of the people involved. And two, if there was some law against, a photograph of a person, and just get Photoshop out, like have a photo, but, stick Mickey Mouse's head on them. Something like that, because the court artist stuff is just weird. So, Chris, you're saying not all US courts are allowed to be recorded? Yeah, because I still see stuff in some reporting in major cases in the US where they're using an artist to illustrate what's happening in court. So it's obviously in some, but sometimes it's funny, like that really disgusting little shitbag Martin Shkreli. You can tell like none of the court artists like him, because when he was on trial, I saw pictures done by 3 or 4 different court artists, and he looked horrible in all of them. He looked like a horrible little gremlin in all. Now he looks like a horrible little gremlin in real life, but the artists were using their artistic license to just make him even worse. Yes, Abigail the Farmer Bro, he's a piece of shit. So, yeah, but I did like the court artists essentially editorializing by drawing him as this little gremlin monster with really ugly, distorted features. It was quite funny. And hopefully he's in prison for a long time, because he's a piece of shit. I might have another drink, because it helps me to talk if I have liquid. And also it's more or less a fidget thing. Nervous habit. Being able to drink something. The ice cube tray is doing one of its weird things where the cubes it's like one of these silicon molds, but the cubes are like stuck. They won't come out. There we go. Fucking hell. That was an effort and a half. But I might have something different to drink. Oh, I wonder. We've got some juices in there. If any of them are still good. They might have been in there too long. Have a quick look. Some blood orange juice. It might have been in there too long. That looks okay. Wait, what does it say used by? Oh, yeah. No drama. I have some blood orange juice. Can't wait for blood orange to be in season here again. It's nice. Raiders. PSA, a house fire within a few kilometers of you happening as you speak, caused by a candle in the bedroom. Ugh. Yes. People underestimate the danger of candles so much. I went through a phase a long time ago of like making candles, coloring and scenting candles, at home with like homemade molds and whatnot. Usually cardboard tubes. Cardboard tubes make excellent candles, including toilet paper roll ones. And so I learned a lot about wax and candles and burning and whatnot, and basically how dangerous they are and how they don't go out if you knock them over. But I remember one time I was at a party at someone's place, just in their apartment, and they had a bunch of candles around, which was nice. And I remember thinking, oh, party with a lot of people drinking. Candles are pretty risky. But no one knocked one over, but they had one that was like on a shelf. So the candle wasn't far from the ceiling. The flame on the candle was probably less than a foot from the ceiling. And another thing people grossly underestimate is the amount of heat generated above a candle flame. Like you get a candle, you put your hand above it, you can't hold it there very long without your hand getting burnt. And I realized how close this candle was to the ceiling. And they probably thought it was safe. Oh, you know, the heat's just a candle and it's this far away from the ceiling. And I went, that's a really fucking bad idea. And I thought I could see a scorch mark, but I was kind of looking into the candle flame, which was dazzling me, and I wasn't sure. But I found the household and I said, I think that's a bad place for a candle. It's too close to the ceiling, generate a lot of heat. It could actually set the ceiling on fire. And they went, oh, and they went and got it down, and there was a really noticeable black scorch mark on the ceiling, and they couldn't rub it off. It had burnt the paint. And yeah, actual combustion was a real possibility. So Safa, Navalny's on hunger strike. Lost 15 kilos. Damn. Yeah, he's going to be in trouble. Shields, been shopping, scored a good deal on eBay. $200 headphones for $39. Nice. eBay Plus member paid back $49 membership fee in one buy. Nice. So I hope you don't get ripped off. I hope you get the product. Speaking as a person who was recently ripped off but bought stuff through eBay. So, eBay emailed me today saying, yes, we have decided in your favor, you get a full refund. Of course I fucking do. These people are obvious scammers. All right, you're in a high-risk fire area out Warrandyte way. Alerts for everything. Yeah. But that is a very good PSA, Raiders. Candles are real fucking dangerous. Or that is also useful. Like, I remember years ago, when I was at uni, actually, we were in this big sort of outdoor thing, and a huge bonfire had been built. And I was somewhat intrigued as to how it was going to, like, yeah, was there a lot of kindling on the bottom? Or I thought, I can just see this not working. And one of the lecturers, he's doing this stuff with candle stubs, and he was putting candle stubs, and not in kindling, on under big bits of wood. He's putting candle stubs and lighting them. And I was like, that'll never work. It's a fucking candle. And he just, obviously he'd done this heaps of times and he knew it worked. And he just, humored me when I was going like, that doesn't look like it'll work. And it fucking worked though. With basically no kindling, this enormous bonfire was set going just by putting some candle stubs around the base, and the heat generated from a candle, because you just got to be patient. It doesn't do it like that, but it does it. The heat generated by a candle will combust really big pieces of wood. So yeah, I learned something, that you could use candles to start really fucking big fires, whether you mean to or not. So careful around candles, kids. Abigail, you ordered a PS4 controller from eBay, didn't arrive after 4 or so months, filed for a refund, ordered from someone else, got the refund, and then the first controller arrived. Lol. Yes, yeah, as you say, Shieldsy, being an eBay member, you're safe buying there. And that's why with this particular one, the website reeked of dodge. And so I thought, I checked all the eBay terms and conditions. I'm like, yep, if I get ripped off, they will make sure I get my money back. And I got ripped off, and they making sure I get my money back. So like the fucking scammers, and they emailed me for a while when I'm saying like, fuck you. Now, I didn't actually swear in the emails. And I was like, give me back my money. I said, this is so obviously a scam. And they were like, oh, sorry, that was a mistake. You can keep that. Yeah, my little woolly hat. You can keep that and we'll send you another one. I went, no, you won't. You won't. This is just something to delay me for another 4 weeks. And so you can keep doing your scam. No, I want your refund. And then they offered a 40% refund. I said, no, I'm not accepting anything less than a 100% refund. And they're like, no. And then they start saying 45%. And I was like, no, I'm 100%. I'm going to PayPal. Fuck you. And yeah. And it only took about 48 hours for PayPal to go, yep, we've decided in your favor, 100% refund. And I can't be the only one this website has done this to. So I can't be the only person going to PayPal for a refund. Like, surely these scamming pieces of shit will lose their ability to use PayPal. But I don't know. It's like the two big tips of a probable scam. One, when the price is too good to be true, because these things, these ice making machines, normally sell for a couple $100, and this was less than $50. And number two is if it's a brand new website. And I actually did the Whois lookup, and like this website had literally just been created, and I went, oh, that seems dodgy. I thought, fuck it, doing it through PayPal, I'll get the money back if they're dodgy. They're dodgy. I'm getting my money back. So I'm supposed to send the hat back to them, which I will. And I swear I'm torn between doing a couple of things. I mean, I'm just going to send the hat. Seriously considering taking a massive shit in the hat and then sending it. And the other thing I'm considering doing is just like, mailing a thing back to them and getting a tracking number, and actually just putting a note in it that says, fuck you. So possibly take a picture of myself wearing the hat and not send the hat back, and a note saying fuck you on the bottom. No, I'm going to put itching powder in it, Raiders, because they'll just send it to someone else. Maybe a picture of, like, send them back the hat, and underneath it have a picture of me rubbing the hat on my ball. Like, not showing my face, obviously, but just after they pick up the hat, then what's this? And they pick up a picture, and it's me rubbing or wiping my ass with it. Wiping my ass with it. That would be the thing. Jesus, don't piss me off. I come up with terrible revenge plans. That one's tempting, though. Taking a picture of rubbing the hat on my balls, or wiping my ass with it. And going back the whole way, just taking a huge shit in the hat is very tempting. Very tempting. I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to like contact PayPal and went, oh, that guy that you made us send a refund. He was rude to us in reply. And I'm just going to go, no, I wasn't. They're fucking making that up. They are absolutely making that up. That is not a thing that happened. I did not do that. Right, secondary delivery anonymously, send them anything. Well, see, I can't. I have to provide a tracking number and whatnot. So I'm going to do it through Australia Post and get a tracking number, and then show PayPal the receipt. Okay, here we go. Sent to this address by Australia Post. This tracking number. Like, in all probability, when it gets there, they're not even going to open it. Maybe I should put a fuck you note in it. So if it took you a few calls to PayPal for anyone to think your scam was real, lady reversed $300 fake purchase of eBay. eBay was wonderful. A Russian hacker changed your email account. Oh, I was actually watching some scam beta email video on YouTube, and some of these people who decide they're going to get these fucking scammers, they are terrifyingly skilled, and they end up hacking into the actual scammers' computers. It's really full on. I wonder what. Sorry, I just think, what graphics come up on a Google search if I type fuck you? Look, I'll share. There's some good ones. There are some good ones. Let me share. Share screen. Chrome tab. Fuck you. So there's some good ones. There's this guy and this one. I kind of like this one. Once upon a time. Fuck you. The end. That guy again. It's very metallic. I like this one. It's cute because it seems happy doing the heart thing, but it says fuck off in there. That one's just the finger. Fuck you. This one. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You see the word fuck that many times and it stops looking like a real word. Ooh, that's weird. Mickey Mouse, just doing it with hand gestures. Oh, people have got a bit of a thing for Mickey Mouse doing it. Oh, see, this is down my fuck you, you fucking fuck. Lots of given the finger. And another Mickey Mouse one. People are really into Mickey Mouse given the finger. This one comes up every now and then. Fuck you, you fuck. Oh, that's a patch for bikers to wear. Well, that's enough of that. Fuck you. Raiders, get it printed in Mandarin, maybe. Abigail, you've done something similar to what scam baiters do. Fun. A lot of work requires a lot of social spoons. I imagine the effort involved in getting into the systems of these scamming bastards is quite a bit. Shieldsy, old days you send back the email to them. Oh my God, they got flooded. Would list their email 10 times over. Yeah. Yeah, but maybe I just need to be a bit positive. And as much as these bastards deserve me to take a shit in the hat, I'll send them notes saying fuck you. Just maybe don't be that person and just let it float on by. God, I'm virtually a saint. I am virtually a saint that I'm not going to do anything excessively aggressive back to someone because they've pissed me off. You know what they say, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Dalai Lama, me. That's how it goes. That is how it goes. I couldn't resist today. A Facebook friend posted a Dalai Lama quote, which is all well and good. And I just replied with, in quotes, also, don't have sex with the lights on, the Dalai Lama, because the Dalai Lama has incredibly fucked and conservative views about sex and sexuality. He not only regards homosexuality as a sin, he basically regards enjoying sex, having sex for fun, as a sin. And he literally declaimed having sex with the lights on. And what's really funny when you get people who are really into quoting the Dalai Lama and you tell them that and you find out really quickly they've never actually read his books. They just selectively read inspirational quotes. And so you start telling them no, he has this really fucked up attitude towards sex and sexuality. And they go, yo, you're just a hater. It's in his own books. It's in his books. He doesn't hide this. He's very big on, and they're like, yeah. And then you give them the evidence and they get really fucking angry. And they block you. I am a saint, Shieldsy. Now I want to find quotes. Dalai Lama on sex and sexuality. Sexuality. Young and warm and... Buddhism and sexuality. What's this one? From the San Francisco Gate. Gay sex is sexual misconduct. Dalai Lama said, same Buddhist scripture advises against gay sex, urges, yes, heterosexuals can't do oral, anal, or masturbation. It's just like so fucking uptight and so fucked up. Anyway. I love that reference, Abigail. First they quote, then they argue, then they block you, then you win. Yeah, you'd think so, Abigail. One does not simply quote the Dalai Lama without reading his book. It becomes very clear that the majority of people who quote or think they're quoting the Dalai Lama have never read his books. So, yes. Oh, here's someone trying to be a bit sensationalistic, I think. Sexual intercourse spells trouble, says the Dalai Lama. Get absolutely fucked as if I'm going to sign up to the fucking Daily Telegraph. And of course, like every other institution, Buddhists have had sexual predators in their ranks. Anyway, he's messed up. Abigail, all babies should be grown in labs. No, I think you're allowed to have sex, just not any fun. There was a very funny bit, and I don't know if it was ever on the TV show, but my dad had a couple of Monty Python books, and I think it was in the brand new Papa Book. There was a transcript of various religious leaders on a panel discussion about sex and sexuality, and my favorite bits were the Catholic priest or bishop who's on there, and like saying, like, contraception is a sin, and the host says, but the Pope supports the rhythm method, and the bishop goes, yeah, but that's just because it doesn't work, and so the Catholic one's saying so many negative things about sex, and the host says, so is the Catholic position that you shouldn't have sex at all? He goes, oh, no, Catholics should be having sex within marriage because that's how we get more Catholics. You just shouldn't enjoy it. It's strictly for outnumbering purposes only. And I always just liked that as a phrase. You can have sex, but don't enjoy it. It's strictly for outnumbering purposes only. And okay, cool. Yeah, so Yeah, it's it's like, not to put too fine a point on it. Buddhism is delusional. The Dalai Lama is delusional. This whole thing about him being the reincarnated Buddha. No, you're not. It's not real. It's not real. And uh, believing it is borderline mental illness. It's just, it's dumb. As you say, you can selectively quote the Dalai Lama to get lots of nice, positive uh, little koans about how to live your life, etc. But lest we forget the core thing, the actual Buddhist religious teachings are fucking stupid. They're just fucking stupid. So he says some nice things that sound in a eat, love, pray way, kind of uplifting and whatnot, but nah. Oh yes, how many people are in that boat, Abigail? My son's middle name is Rhythm Method. Getting off at Redfern. I never understood that until I moved to Sydney, and like Redfern is one stop short of Central, which is like one stop short of getting to the city. So, and this a very Sydney-based slang for coitus interruptus, or pulling out. So that's having penis in vagina sex with no condom, and thinking I'm going to pull out before I come and she won't get pregnant. It's just, no. It is such a bad idea. And but so it's like, pulling out before you get to the destination. It's like getting off at Redfern, getting off before you get to the city. So yes, when I first heard that, I didn't understand it at all. And then I moved to Sydney, and I did. So, Radies, you've had your head buried in genealogy most of today. What the fuck is up with Kerry Stokes and Ben Roberts-Smith? Well, Ben Roberts-Smith, he's the war criminal, yeah? Let's look up the news. What's been happening? Not sure how Kerry Stokes fits into it. Let's what will change when COVID restrictions end? Oh yes, a return traveller died in hospital from COVID. Let's say oh, Andrews might go back to work soon. There we go. Let's see. Oh, Christ. Christopher Pine says Australia war with China likely in 5 to 10 years. Christ, he's a piece of shit. Melbourne's oldest building is for sale. All right, no, he's not in the headlines. I'll just look up the name. Ben Roberts-Smith, the topic. So, oh, that's a video. I didn't want a video. Thought I was going to the ABC News site. I didn't want a video. So reputable. Here we go. Okay. So here's where Kerry Stokes come in. Kerry Stokes is the War Memorial Chair. There you go. Morrison government's backing Kerry Stokes to continue overseeing the Australian War Memorial amid new reports about the media baron's support for former soldier Ben Roberts-Smith, who's seeking to clear his name over alleged war crimes in Afghanistan. Minister for Veterans Affairs, David Chester, said he had full confidence, despite the Greens arguing that Stokes' position as chair was untenable. Chester also said former and current Australian Defence Force members must be afforded presumption of evidence in the wake of the Brereton inquiry into war crimes by Special Forces soldiers. Ben Roberts-Smith, a Victoria Cross recipient, may have been involved in cover-up of evidence potentially relating to the inquiry. Nine reported the allegation on Sunday evening. Roberts-Smith had dug a hole in the backyard of his house in the Sunshine Coast hinterland in Queensland and hidden USB drives containing potential evidence inside a pink plastic children's lunchbox to hide them from both police and the military. But he wants to keep them? So he didn't want to destroy the evidence. He wants to keep evidence, but just not let an inquiry see it. He's engaged in defamation proceedings against Nine. He says the allegations are baseless. Oh, right. So he already had a lawsuit going against Nine before they broadcast this thing. Okay. Oh, wow. I said he says Kerry Stokes, according to this story, there's a recording that they say was Robert Smith. There's no fucking way I'd be able to keep paying until Kerry got into it. So both Robert Smith and Stokes deny that these things happen. Interesting. Yes. Nick McKenzie is being sued, Raiders, by that guy. That's interesting, Abigail. When you returned from Sydney, you had to apply for a travel permit to get into Victoria, but they never checked anyone at the airport. No, they haven't been checking that for weeks. Why did they make you do a travel permit? No one's been checking travel permits for weeks from Sydney. That seems weird that they made you do that travel permit, because they were definitely never going to check it. So yes, it will be interesting to see if this former soldier wins his defamation case against the investigative reporter and Channel 9 generally. And now, Channel 9 has aired additional allegations about him, which he says aren't true. And Kerry Stokes appears to be balls deep in you can't say anything bad about our service, people. Nope, he's going to protect this guy the whole way. So one more controversy for the Morrison Clown Show with them supporting Kerry Stokes, and it's really looking like they probably shouldn't be. What's my hair doing? What is my fucking hair? This is like what's this bit? What the fuck? I can't even see it clearly. Right, that's way better. Go do that. I don't like that. Well, that actually got rid of the weird bit. Okay. I washed it this morning and it's really fluffy. Raiders. The fact that 60 Minutes aired more stuff about Robert Smith while he's actually got defamation proceedings against him is pretty fucking gung-ho. And again, you'd have to assume their lawyers went over it with a fine-tooth comb and they're confident it's true. It's probably going to get tested in court. But I can't imagine they would have been cavalier about this. I imagine they would have been incredibly cautious because truth is a defense in defamation cases. So, if you say Clive Palmer's a gross, festering, big blob of pus, and he sues you for defamation, you go with the defense, but he is a big, festering blob of pus. And the judge goes, yeah, it's not defaming you to call you that because a significant proportion of the population agree you're a big, festering ball of pus. So, yeah. Yes. Abigail, why are they so anti the cure? And we're going against Roberts Dash Smith. Roberts Dash Smith. This look okay. This is probably the grey is probably my natural haircut. So I haven't coloured my hair since May last year, but I suspect the darker bits might still be hanging on to a little bit of dye. I think I don't know that along the part there that's a bit dark. I don't know. I think it's salt and pepper. Salt and pepper. Oh God, I remember that one. Abigail. Clive Palmer as Fatty McFuckhead. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that court case. So, that story I was looking at was on the Guardian website, and I got this ad for these weird stickers, novelty stickers. 2 types of Trump supporters: idiots and multimillionaires. Said something else, but there's even this very American centric. There's one of Gritty, the really weird sports mascot, with the slogan, "This machine kills fascists." I love how Gritty became the symbol of the revolution. Gritty's going to take the fucking Pepe the Frog types to the guillotine. Gritty's just so fucking weird. So fucking weird. Sorry, I didn't see the second line from the sticker that said there's 2 type of Trump supporters, idiots and multimillionaires. Check your bank balance to see which type you are. Funny. Ooh. Is Peter Costello head of 9 Fairfax? Yes, his relationship with Morrison would be tested over defamation. I don't think Costello would give a shit about Morrison. What's interesting is, as saying before, Saf was saying it's Channel 9 versus Channel 7, because Kerry Stokes at Channel 7 is a key figure in defending Ben Roberts-Smith. So, yeah, different media billionaires fighting with each other. But yes, the inquiry into alleged war crimes by special forces in Afghanistan uncovered some ugly fucking stuff. Not good. Not good at all. Who knew? Who knew you let testosterone-crazed yobbos loose with guns and no oversight that they'll end up doing bad things? That's a shocking turn of events. A shocking turn of events that nobody could have seen coming. And I don't care what anyone says, you couldn't have seen it coming. It's just absolutely unpredictable, and it's very much against the odds. So, what are you going to do? So, sorry, I just saw Nettie on social media saying, "Wish I could have a drink, but all my booze is still packed away." Yeah. Abigail doing the shocked Pikachu value. Raiders never understand why Seb Costello got to keep his job apart from his old man. I don't know what that is in relation to. He is a journalist on TV. What's this one? 9 considers legal action. Famous father to run-ins with rival reporters and getting treatment for burnout. Demeaning tweet sent by Seven presenter Edwina Bartholomew about Nine's Seb Costello sharpened hostility between the networks. Bad blood between Costello 32 and Seven journalists goes a long way back. He fell out with former friend Tom Brown. Brown failed to get close to Buddy during a live cross. He was restricted by a microphone wire attached to the camera, and his earpiece fell out mid-pursuit while Seb walked along. Franklin got the scoop. He collided with Seven News reporter Chanel Vella while chasing comments after a court hearing. During his 18-month run as Nine's European correspondent, his whereabouts were questioned by some viewers after he went missing for several weeks. After having reported major stories, the reporter admitted he was burnt out. I've got no problem with someone stepping back from a job because they're feeling burnt out. Shocking tweet. Seven standing by Sunrise presenter Edwina Bartholomew in the aftermath of her errant tweet about Costello. Senior management figures are sympathetic to Edwina's situation, will continue to back her 100%. Furthermore, contrary to reports, Seven bosses were amused by Nine's threats. They're being taken seriously. She said a swear, like they won't even say what she did, but she apparently replied to a tweet from Nine News saying he was surprised. What was it? Oh god, I'm trying to find it again. The fucking page just reloaded. Surprisingly articulated for a blank. So we can all just guess what the word was that they're blanking out. I think she said a swear because she doesn't like him. Anyway, who knows? That's Sebastian Costello. Costello Jr. might have shares in Coca-Cola and Mattel. You have to be cryptic so you don't get sued. Yeah, well, yeah, it appears like lots of fights between Channel 7 and Channel 9, and they're going on. But yes, well, that was in that, yeah, right, is in that story. Seb went missing while he was the European correspondent, and he said he was burnt out. So that could mean anything. I wonder if that's like tired and emotional. I haven't heard this one used in the media for a long time, but it's one that I heard repeatedly growing up, and it goes back a long way. When a celebrity or politician is being reported on and they were shit-faced drunk in public, they would be referred to as tired and emotional. Like that's why they were the way they were. They weren't shit-faced drunk. They were tired and emotional. Coke binge and MIA. Well, yeah, that's a thing. This guy I went to at uni with was stupid enough to. He was an ABC journo. Was stupid enough to do drugs in Singapore and got arrested. Not sure how long he spent in prison. I'm going to look that up. Oh, there's a Wikipedia entry on it. In 2008, he was arrested, charged with possession of meth, pipe and syringes, tested positive for amphetamines, investigated for trafficking, released on bail. They dropped the trafficking charge, sentenced to 10 months, and released a little bit early. So he did, Jesus, that is really fucking lucky. A drug bust for a high-profile white guy in Singapore, and all you got was 6 months in jail. Oh, and he returned to work at ABC as a senior journalist on Late Line in April 2010. Wowzers. Man, but that's really fucking lucky. That's connected. Only getting 6 months in Priz for a drug charge in Singapore. Celtic King, we're talking about the misadventures of certain journalists. Rady's not Peter Ford's biggest fan, but he nailed it in the Seb story. All right. Sam Costello. Peter Ford. Oh, that's in the Australian, so I'm not going to look at that. Entertainment reporter Peter Ford told radio listeners that so the Daily Mail really doesn't want to actually repeat that tweet for legal reasons. Oh, Abigail, I say wowzers all the time. I say a lot of stupid things. Yeah. It's going to be behind a paywall. Yeah. So, yes, Europe correspondent back to work after an unusual 3-week break. Followed on Paris riots. Diary's going to be completely honest in this one. We have no idea why the sudden aspects. So no, not even some people at 9 believe the official excuse. He worked such a long stress, he was tired, needed a break. It's hardly breaking news, foreign correspondence. Here's the thing, like, I don't have a problem with someone taking a break from work for stress and feeling burnt out. But that's the telling line. Like, even people at 9 don't believe his story. Fuck. Megaleech, hello to you, sir. Hey, did you get my package, by the way? Surely it should have reached you by now. Is Celtic King? That's a TV show. Everyone Loves Abigail. I think that's what the show was called. I never watched it. Oh, package came today. Oh no, your wife's taken it. Oh no. Oh dear. Well, both of you, either of you, use it in good health. Glad I finally got around to it. improvised a box for it because I'd received some stuff in the mail. Oh no, your wife has the new webcam. You still have an old one. Oh no, that seems unfair. Oh well, it's the way things go sometimes, I guess. Raiders, yeah, okay. Ray Romano. There was a really quite good film that I think not a lot of people saw called The Big Sick. I think it starred Kamal Najini. Yeah, he was in the Silicon Valley Show. He's been in a few things. I think he wrote it as well. Yeah, no, he did. He wrote it, co-wrote it with his partner because it was based on the real story of his wife getting a life-threatening illness, which she recovered from, and yeah, don't think he directed it, but he stars and wrote it. And Ray Romano plays his father-in-law, like he has, a white wife. Ray Romano is his father-in-law. I did not pick him for a while because he doesn't really look like he did on his TV show, and like he's a fucking good actor. And it was basically he is such a good actor that I didn't recognize him. Like he's not wearing prosthetics or anything. It's just his hair's a bit longer and he had a beard. Is that oh, and he's 10 years older than from Everyone Loves Raymond. And but he's a really good actor. Everyone Loves Raymond. Just thinking, when was that actually on? 96 to 2005. So, yeah, this movie was made more than 10 years after that finished. Got this thing, Mrs. Anger and I started re-watching 6 Feet Under this week. Let's say re-watching because I didn't watch all of it when it was on. I watched episodes of it when it was on, and I didn't realize how long ago. Like it's 20 years old. Season 1 went to air in 2001. And of course, when you're watching it, it's ye old square TV picture. It's not widescreen because shit wasn't widescreen in 2001. So it holds up though. We've watched 4 episodes from season 1, and not once was I laughing at haircuts or fashion, which I was slightly surprised by. But yeah, that really holds up 20 years later. So going to watch more of that. Watch the whole thing, really. Was it 5 seasons? Raiders, you watched Netflix doco, a film crew following him around New York to do multiple. Yes, I actually watched that Netflix thing too. Yes. But yeah, a film that I think a lot of people didn't see is called The Big Sick. It's very good. This is written by and starring Kamal Najimi, and Ray Romano plays his father-in-law, and he's really good. The movie generally is very good. But it's probably available on one or other of the streaming services. I haven't seen it for a long time, but it was very good. So it was a date night film a couple of years ago, and it was good. Very good film. Right, as usually you're a big Everyone Loves Raymond fan. I guess, yeah, it's one of those sitcoms that I did watch. Things like I always liked Mad About You that was the 90s, wasn't it? Or maybe at the same time as Everyone Loves Raymond. I just keep looking stuff up and I think of it. Mad About You, Ed. Yeah, no, Mad About You was earlier although Everyone Loves Raymond, it started in 95 and went and Mad About You went from 92 to 99. So it did come first. But I was kind of into Mad About You because I thought it was just a bit more sarcastic than a lot of the sitcoms. Same as, oh my God, Malcolm in the Middle. Malcolm in the Middle was fucking awesome. Still love Malcolm in the Middle. Stuff you saying America, Coming to America too is a cash grab by Amazon. I'm not sure if that worked for them. I mean, they would have laid out a lot of money to get that made. I'm not sure it's been pulling in the crowd. I mean, I've got fucking Amazon Prime, and so I can watch it anytime I want, and I haven't watched it. Yes, Raiders, Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt were both very good in Mad About You. I'll always have a soft spot for Paul Reiser for playing the obnoxious yuppie in the movie Aliens, the James Cameron directed sequel to Alien. And he's just such a good yuppie. He's just a horrible, horrible fucking yuppie who gets what's coming to him. Abigail, binge watched Scrubs, but not season 9. It's not meant to be, yeah. Yeah, Scrubs was good. I liked Scrubs. Probably liked Malcolm in the Middle more, but they were good shows. There's two funny things I've seen on YouTube, and not to offend anyone who likes Big Bang Theory, but I fucking do not like Big Bang Theory. There's videos on YouTube where someone's edited out the laugh track, and so they're just saying these lines with pauses, and it's fucking terrible. This is done by someone who doesn't like Big Bang Theory, and just showing in their mind, I'm proving to you that it's fucking horrible and not funny by taking out the laugh track. And but the other one I saw where someone took out the laugh track, it's like Ross Geller in Friends. If you take out the laugh track, he's a fucking psychopath. When he's getting upset with someone, if you take out the laugh track, he's just a fucking psychopath. It's funny. So if you haven't seen Borat 2, I have also not seen Borat 2 because I just have no interest. I have no urge to see Borat 2. Mind you, I did watch a stupid movie the other day. Mrs. Angren, I was just flicking around. I want to watch something really light, and it was some comedy that had Judi Dench as a dodgy clairvoyance, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he was the lead in the Marvel series Legion. And it's, like some guy after a visit from the, dodgy psychic starts seeing the ghost of his dead ex-wife. And it kind of had its moments, but the writing was really fucking shitty. And they kept leaning on the same slapstick shit repeatedly that shouldn't have even happened once. But anyway. Right, as Chuck Lorre has a lot to answer for. Well, Chuck Lorre in his multi-billion-dollar mansions, I think he's probably real relaxed about answering for anything. Abigail, I would have assumed that Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall would want to have done the Coming to America sequel. Yeah, but that's the thing with these streaming services. They're so desperate to have a big draw card. You'll see really big-name people doing shows or movies for these streaming services, because the streaming services are basically, this is my assumption, the streaming services are basically saying to big name people, hey, come here and you can do fucking whatever you want. High-end series, we'll pay for it. A movie, we'll pay for it. We need original content, and you're great. And then you see they've been doing it. Actors, and Martin Scorsese made that thing, the Irishman, for Netflix, which I still haven't watched. It was 4 hours long or something. But yeah, they I think they're just throwing money at famous people. Celtic King, bye. What's that, Abigail? You just ordered the new 52 series of Supergirl comics, just despite the CW version of Supergirl, which is a sucky version of the character, but you like the show. I've not really watched any of those shows. I've watched bits of them, and a lot of them, the bits I've watched, is like, oh, that looks pretty good, but I don't have the time to invest in just this cavalcade of DC shows or cavalcade of Marvel shows. That actually, now I'm lying. I've been on Disney Plus. I've been watching WandaVision and now Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I have to admit, I'm more interested in Loki, which starts in about 2 months. So yeah, they seem to be pacing them one after the other. It's like one series, then when that's done, another series, then when that's done, another one. So I'm be very interested in when the Star Wars shows start, because they signed on like 6 Star Wars shows. The only one I've seen consistently advertised is the animated one, The Bad Batch, which kind of looks interesting, but I'm not sure if I will, because I haven't watched, even though a lot of people think things like Rebels and Clone Wars animated series were good, I've never really spent time on them. And yes, Abigail, when those are all movies, but you can definitely see Disney with the shockwaves of COVID going, yeah, big cinema might be in trouble. It might be way more profitable for us to do big TV now. Theoretically, sometime in the next couple of years, they're going to get back into making big cinema movies. But honestly, it wouldn't be the end of the world if there weren't these multi-$100 million blockbusters coming out every year. If there were just quality films that would attract smaller audiences. But who knows? Abigail, you like The Flash. I saw a clip on YouTube where they did a multiverse crossover, and they had the Flash from the DC movies with the Flash from the DC TV series. Their timelines were crossing and they saw each other. That was kind of cute. Abigail, Star Trek Prodigy looks good. New season of Lower Decks. A crowdfunding of a Voyager documentary like the DS9 one. Yeah, that's the other thing. There's meant to be in the next couple of years like 4 Star Wars series. So you did like the Crisis on Infinite Earth crossovers on the DC shows. Yeah. I mean, I saw a bit of Gotham and it looked okay, like an origin story of all the Batman villains. That kind of looked okay. And what did I watch? Like I said, when I mentioned Legion, I watched a couple seasons of Legion, and Safa, how many years did it take to make Godzilla vs Kong? A couple, because those things normally, there's the normal shooting schedule, which goes for a couple months, but then the post-production usually takes a year or two, and that's a very effects-heavy film. It's going to take a year or two to do all the post-production. But I mean, it was ready last year. It was one of the films that was ready last year, and got held back. Ezra Miller, okay, he's the DC Flash. Ezra Miller appears to choke woman in video. Will reportedly address infamous choking incident soon. So, okay, so that story broke more than a year ago. And now they're saying a year later, he's going to address it. Video where he appeared to choke a female fan who approached him outside a bar in Iceland. In contrast to what typically happens, cases such as this, when a celebrity's reputation is at stake, Miller remained silent on the incident and never addressed it. But now he might. That seems, yep, fucked up. Miller was accosted by a group of fans described as quite pushy who encouraged him to fight back. Being under the influence of alcohol, the actor retaliated, and that's what was recorded. He was removed from the bar. Police decided to take no further action. See, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that happened. Oh, that's interesting, Abigail. They had Superman from Superman Returns and Smallville in the crossover. Neat. You know what I want to see? I want to see another animated movie in the style of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I really fucking liked that, and I really liked that visual style as well. And actually, that's another Marvel thing that's coming up later this year, the animated What If series. I will be interested to see what they do with that. I'll give them all a go. If they suck, they suck. And then that's after just saying I'm never invested time in any of these, the DC TV series. What was the one with the weird mutants? Brendan Fraser does the voice of the robot. It's not the Inhumans. It's something like that, though. But yes, there's... Abigail used to read the What If comics. Yeah, well, yeah, they've done a lot of very speculative What If comics, like comedy series. So if you're saying they are doing a Spider-Verse 2, well, it doesn't have to be Spider-Verse 2, although I did like those characters. But, like Robert Downey Jr. could still do Iron Man. And I think he is actually doing an Iron Man episode on What If. Well, there's a random one, Raiders. Bitcoin just reached $62,000 for a Bitcoin. Man, those people who paid for a pizza with Bitcoin, not very smart, are they? Or no, actually, that's completely unreasonable. This stuff with Bitcoin is not rational. So where is it? Bitcoin price. What is Bitcoin price now? Fuck, $62,891. This page doesn't want to load. Oh no, here we go. Okay, this is how not real it is. Like a year ago, it was like $6,000, less than $7,000. So it's gone up almost by a factor of 10 in a year. So yeah, it's almost, if a year ago you had $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, that's now worth 10,000. Yes, Abigail, I wish crypto miners would fuck the fuck off. And yes, okay, Raiders, you got it from AFP News, but yeah, it's over 62,000. So for Bitcoin uses the same electricity as New Zealand. Yes, that's another downside with Bitcoin mining, is it uses a lot of energy. And yeah, the fucking crypto miners making graphics cards expensive and hard to get. Fuck them. But it's none of it's real. And okay, arguably, and I will agree with this, arguably no money is real Money only has the value that everyone agrees it has. And if everyone stops agreeing that money has a particular value, it no longer has that value. That's why you get some countries suffer from hyperinflation when their economy collapses, because people go, I don't think your currency is actually worth anything. And, Germany post World War II, Zimbabwe quite recently. But because there's no other way to refer to it. There's a mania at the moment with Bitcoin, like going up by a factor of 10 in 1 year. That is a completely irrational mania. And I suspect completely unsustainable. At a certain point, it's got to break. And what often happens with things like that, the people who've amassed the strongest position, because if someone decides, I want to cash out some of my sort of fictional Bitcoin money into slightly less fictional fiat currency like US dollars or whatever, then the simple act of selling a large stake will make the price come down, because there's more availability in the market. The price will come down. And what often happens, because this is just a mania, this is completely irrational mania. And if a couple of big holders of Bitcoin just went, time to cash out, and they sold huge tracts of Bitcoin to, rake in millions of dollars in profit, then other people would see that and go, oh no, the price is going to go down. And they'd sell their stake. And then other people would see all this sale happening, and they'd see the price would go ding, 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 ding. That's where you get all these major stock market crashes and, the global financial crisis, because that shit's all fictional. It's all fictional. And when everyone stops believing the fiction, it's basically just fantasy value on the stock market. People start going, oh God, it's just a fantasy. I've got to cash out into something that's somewhat less of a fantasy. And it all comes crashing down. I'm not sure how much, if any, economic damage a Bitcoin crash would do. Wonder if anyone's looked into that. Would there be knock-on effects if there was a Bitcoin crash? But yes, what will the future be? Yeah, exactly, Abigail. Elon should tweet something to make Bitcoin crash. He's done it with his own companies enough. He has actually been doing the opposite, which again is, I was going to say borderline criminal, but I'm pretty sure it's actually criminal. He's been talking up Bitcoin. He has a big stake in Bitcoin, and he's been talking it up. And someone as influential as him talking it up has an effect, to which I suspect is, he's stoking the mania and plans to cash out at some point. So alternatively, I could be completely wrong, and the value of Bitcoin could just keep going up and up and up with nothing stopping it. Logic suggests no, that won't happen. But, logic has a poor track record in the last decade or so. So I'm not going to put too much stake in logic and common sense at the moment, because there's not, like I said, just not a great track record. But I do think the most likely outcome is a real crash, like a serious crash. Abigail, crypto is definitely a bubble. Oh, you know what's a real bubble? That fucking NFT, non-fungible tokens. That is the biggest load of horseshit, and it is an absolute scam. It is absolute ridiculous, meaningless bullshit, and it's being pumped at the moment by just outright fraudsters. And the NFT bubble is going to burst before the crypto bubble. Abigail, if global fiat currencies crash, money will be local currencies like that in Greece. You would, if there was an actual irretrievable collapse in global fiat currencies, you'd have to withdraw back into local markets and local trade. It's as simple as that. And you'd end up with stuff being much closer to barter. You get back to where people are struggling to put a real value on things. I mean, like one of the fascinating things I learned, there was a period in medieval Europe where those big Padano cheese wheels, the Parmesan cheese wheels, they were a recognized investment and a currency because they would keep for years and years and years and years, and everyone knew what they were. So you could trade in them. It's like, oh, okay, like one of those big things of cheese. Yeah, that's worth bleh. So I'll either give you currency or gold or whatever, or I'll trade you for another commodity because that's a thing of a recognized value. So, Brady, do you think the big superannuation companies need to stay the fuck away from crypto? The big superannuation companies are fucking criminals, and a lot of people are going to probably find out they have no savings when they retire because of what fucking cowboys the big super companies are. They're scumbags. Cheese futures, that was an actual real thing. Oh, nice. Raiders, old school. You inherited a decent silver ingot. That's wild. Oh god, that just reminded me of like particularly you get American libertarians talking about investing in gold and whatnot. Most of them don't have any gold ingots. They've been scammed into like gold certificates and whatnot. Particularly, might have been as long as 10 years ago, Glenn Beck on Fox whipping up the boomers into hysteria about everything's going to collapse and your money won't be worth anything. You need gold. And from a certain perspective, you can make that argument. But then what he would flog was not even gold. Like he'd do these ads for a gold product, and you weren't buying gold. You were buying these gold certificates that were, oh my God, just so not to be trusted. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna trust American currency. I'm gonna trust these certificates that Glenn Beck told me about, and trust that they're worth something. Abigail, you think the gold buyback booths in shopping centers, rich people stockpiling on gold? Maybe, yeah. It's stranger things happen. It's kind of like Terry Pratchett, one of the Discworld books, Making Money, is a really good treatise on how fiat currency moved away from the gold standard and how money evolved, and also how money is a fucking scam invented by rich people. And it's and how you can't trust the system because rich people spend all their time ripping off the system. Yeah, Abigail, it was a non-fiat currency. It was basically, I don't trust the US government to maintain value in their fiat currency. Oh, but I trust Glenn Beck and this company he's representing that this piece of paper can actually be redeemed for gold. It's like, oh my fucking God. So you won't trust a government-backed fiat currency, but for some reason you're going to back a private enterprise-backed fiat currency. Good on you. Good on you. Oh, dear. On all this hard currency talk, I might go to bed. So your ingot rate is it was a gift for 40 years service. The old State Bank of Victoria. And they were generous before they became a publicly listed company. Yeah. We were so much better off when the banks were old and conservative. Since the 80s, they've just been fucked. Anyway, that's it. Angry's hot tips on the meaning of money. Yes, Abigail. Sorry, that what I said about Glenn Beck's gold certificates literally describes currency on the gold standard. It's like the government is guaranteeing that this currency could be given in to get this much precious metal. But it's like trusting this dodgy fucking company to do that is just deranged. Anyway, good night, all. We finished with Angry's finance tips, which if you are dumb enough to follow my advice on finance, I'm sorry, but what happens to you next is your fault. This is not advice you should act on. So good night, one and all. I probably won't be on tomorrow night, but then probably will be on Thursday night. So take care, you all. And I hope to see you again another time. But bye for